Hi, and welcome everyone to our 31st episode of The Little Inside. As you might have guessed, my name is still Tobi, and this week I'm going to talk a little bit about how we often tend to associate happiness with guilt. So let's get started right after the intro. I've been recently visiting my home country. As many of you know, I live in Thailand, and occasionally I go back to my home country, which is Germany. And in Germany, I met our old pharmacist. We went to the pharmacy, and she has been with our family throughout many generations, actually. So she knew my grandparents, she knew my father and his brothers, my uncles, and she knew me. And so I visited her again, and of course she recognized me, and then she told me a story after I asked her how she was. And so she started by telling me, you won't believe it, what happened to me. One day was during winter time, she told me that I woke up in the morning and I felt so good. I felt so incredibly happy. And as you know, she continued, when we feel very, very happy, I think we say this kind of thing, pride comes before the fall or something like this. She said that. I felt really happy, and there was a certain pride, a certain arrogance with my happiness. And she said, you won't believe it, but really punishment, of course, followed really soon. So I listened, I really paid attention, and I asked her what kind of punishment did happen. And so she said, because I felt so happy, I decided I'm going to wear my best pair of shoes. I felt almost like, some sort of a dancing mood, and I went outside of the house on my way to work, and I went down the stairs, and it was slippery because there was ice on the stairs. And I fell, and I broke my knee. She broke her knee or her ankle or something like this. And this whole story struck me because she felt good this morning, but then she associated this good feeling with a punishment. And she did that in a way, like really subconsciously, just putting it into her little story. And I was really shocked when I actually heard that. And I realized that this is also what I tend to do to myself. For example, when I feel really, really good, I'm having a great day, the sun is shining, the morning excursion with our guests on the retreat was fantastic. I'm feeling great, I'm feeling happy. There's always this kind of background voice that says, careful, don't be too happy because you might be punished for it. Or something bad might happen if you're too happy. And since I recognized that, I heard many people talk like this actually on our retreats as well, talking in a way that suggests that if they are too happy, something must be wrong. You can't just feel so happy, just for no reason, just waking up and feeling happy, or, having a great meditation, having a great time, feeling really good. Something is wrong there. And this seems to be this is like this underlying guilt pattern that I have often observed within myself, and within my friends, fellow Germans, and also many, many Europeans, or people who come out of a westernized society, a Western society, tend to feel these feelings that being too happy is not really that good. You should kind of always be like everybody wants to feel happy, right? But there's this other voice that kind of wants to keep you down or kind of neutral all the way. So because too much happiness seems to be not too good. And so this is what I'm going to talk a little bit about today, actually, because it struck me many, many times just how difficult it seems for so many people to have a nice meditation time, and how this guilt, this feeling of guilt, or I'm not deserving to be happy, can be in the way big time. So next time when you're doing your meditation session and you're feeling really, really good, watch out for this. Is there something that kind of a distraction or a sudden urge to stop the session or something like this when you're feeling really good? Or even like a plain sense of, oh, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to feel that good. How could I feel that good when other people all around the world are suffering, when there is war, when there is bombs dropped on Syria? How can I be happy if other people are starving? How can I be happy when my neighbor is having a bad time? How can I be happy when a family member just passed away? How can I enjoy myself? It seems almost like it's not legitimate. It's not a good thing to enjoy yourself. Almost like as if you needed to suffer with those other people in this world. So if there's a war somewhere else in another place and people are suffering a great deal from this war, it feels almost like wrong to feel happy on this side of the world and to enjoy a good meditation. In fact, I feel almost like I should suffer with those guys. I should experience something similar, or at least feel really down when I see this. This seems right. Have you observed this within yourself? I certainly have, and many, many times. But here's why I think that this is a wrong perception. I think this is a wrong perception because the only thing that would actually make this world a nicer place is if more people would be able to feel joy. It would somehow create a momentum of joy, a momentum of goodwill, of kindness, of good mental qualities. So if somebody is drowning in front of you, then if you know that you can't swim, then you wouldn't jump into the water and drown with that person, like kind of being the drowning buddy, right? But this is what pity very often does. We're having pity with someone. We are sinking down on their level of vibration, on their level of suffering and pain that they experience. And then you have two people in the room who are miserable. There's a one person that is miserable from an illness, for example, or a loss that they have experienced. And then there's us being miserable on top of that. So we are not really creating an uplifting energy for the other person. We're not really helping. We're actually just suffering together. So in a way, you clearly might realize that that doesn't really help anyone in this world if more and more people are suffering. Like there are those people who are stuck in a war, and then here's an entire country that is suffering about the fact that they are stuck in a war. So our suffering doesn't help. However, what helps is, for example, more kind action. And more kind action can only come out when you're being kind to yourself. And once you're kind to yourself, of course, joyful feeling is the result of that. If you're able to receive all of yourself, every single facet of yourself, with kindness, then naturally you're becoming a more joyful person. If you learn how to use your thoughts well and wisely, naturally you will feel happier. The reason why we suffer is because we don't know. We don't understand the mechanics of the mind. We don't know what's happening inside of us because our entire attention and focus is directed outward to the problem. We're looking at the problem. We're experiencing the problem. And of course, where there is a problem, there's always possible solutions. But we can't see them as long as we are suffering the problem. I also want to say that, of course, it's a very human thing to feel pain and to feel suffering. So we shouldn't go out there and pretend that we're happy all the time, but actually practice to receive your suffering and whatever it is about that whatever it is that you're suffering about, right? You might be suffering because a relative has been hospitalized. That is natural. You can't suppress that. You can't get rid of it. So that is a natural reaction that we are experiencing, a sense of suffering and helplessness and all that. Well, the first step always would be to acknowledge that and to accept the fact that this is the way we feel. And then instead of adding an additional layer of suffering on top of our misery, saying that I shouldn't be feeling like that, or I deserve to feel like that, to just quietly accept that there is this feeling right now, and it feels like this, and instead of adding fire or fuel to the fire, I'm going to feel, accept, and learn to receive that with kindness, receiving this feeling with kindness. And that is a process that needs to be learned properly. You can't just watch a YouTube video and then say, okay, I'm going to accept my negativity with kindness. Of course it doesn't work. It is a training. Particularly if you don't have any previous experience, you don't have a teacher, you don't have a guide, you don't have a community around you of people who are actively cultivating such qualities. That you're all by yourself and alone, and you're trying to develop these, that is not going to work out. So in order for that to work out, it is really important to associate with the right kind of people that help you to develop such qualities, that are all having a common goal together, where we are all striving to cultivate more kindness, more compassion, more patience, and so forth. All these qualities that are uplifting and good. And so I want to say that it is absolutely good to feel good. It's fine to feel good. In fact, wouldn't you agree that this world really would need more people that feel good, that are able to support goodness in this world with the way they feel, the way they act, the way they think, what they say? Wouldn't you agree that it would be nice to have more uplifting forces in this world? And wouldn't you agree that both me and you and me, this is our chance, it's our option, it's a choice we can make. A choice to choose, a choice to choose, to feel good, to choose to feel good. It's a choice. When we have mindfulness, it's a certain choice, right? I want to choose to feel good. I want to choose not to be pulled down into suffering, even though the world might be a crazy place, depending on where you're looking, depending on where your attention falls, can be quite a crazy place, quite an insane place, full of people who are fighting each other and lots of violence and lots of injustice. Totally agreed. But is it helping if we are feeling the same feelings? Well, of course not, right? And all of us really know that deep down inside, we all want to be happy. And I think it is high time for all of us to take that responsibility and cultivate happiness and joy, to cultivate kindness, to cultivate wise thinking. And finally also to cultivate release, to drop all the drama around good and bad, around our thoughts and our stories in our head, and learn to allow more calmness and peace to flow into this world through our presence. So with that, I will finish this episode of the little insight. This is all that comes to mind for now, for this week. And as always, if you have any questions, you can write them down in the comment section below, or you can contact me on Facebook, or wherever we are on the social media. You can see our webpage. You can write me an email if you like, if you have any questions or doubts. And it would be nice to see you one time, maybe in one of our meditation classes here in Phuket, or in one of our retreats. And for now, I hope this was in some way helpful or inspiring, or it just kind of gave rise to more awareness to this kind of guilt about pleasure pattern that many of us obviously have, and maybe some incentive to discover and let go of that. Okay, so I wish you a wonderful next week, and looking forward to see you again on next Wednesday with episode 32. Okay, bye-bye.